The Galactic Council's grand chamber buzzed with the quiet murmur of countless voices. Species from distant star systems gathered under a ceiling that shimmered like the cosmos itself, reflecting the weight of millennia of interstellar politics. At the center stood Marcus Hale, Earth's ambassador, his posture steady but his mind alert. This was his first time here, among the galaxy's most powerful and advanced civilizations. Yet, despite the grandeur around him, he felt the sting of invisible eyes judging his home world. Whispers drifted through the air, barely audible but unmistakable to anyone who knew what to listen for. Primitive, uncultured, a backwater world. The delegates spoke openly behind their hands, dismissing Earth as a forgotten outpost barely worthy of their notice. The humans had only just begun to explore space beyond their system, and their technology was considered outdated by galactic standards. Marcus knew their assumptions well. He had spent years preparing for this moment, studying the customs, the politics, even the subtle prejudices of each species. The Galactic Council was a place where strength was shown not by force, but by influence and prestige. Earth had none. The council chamber was vast, filled with beings of all shapes and sizes, some towering, some delicate, some shimmering with bioluminescence. Each spoke in their own language or via translators, debating policies that shaped star systems and entire civilizations. Earth's voice was a mere whisper in this storm of power. As the council president called the session to order, Marcus took a deep breath. He began his opening statement, carefully chosen words highlighting Earth's desire for peaceful cooperation and mutual respect. But as his words echoed through the chamber, he could sense the subtle smirks and exchanged glances. To them, his speech was an awkward attempt by a species far behind in the galactic race. The ambassador from the Kilari, a species known for their sharp tongues and advanced technology, leaned forward with a patronizing smile. His voice, dripping with condescension, carried through the hall as he described Earth as a primitive rock clinging to its old ways. Laughter rippled from several delegates. Marcus's jaw tightened. The insult was clear. Earth was not to be taken seriously. Yet in that moment, a strange resolve settled over Marcus. He looked out toward the stars visible through the chamber's transparent walls. Earth was a small blue dot, seemingly insignificant against the vastness of space. But it was home. And it was far more resilient than any of these beings realized. For centuries, humanity had been divided by borders, beliefs, and conflicts. But now, facing ridicule from the stars, they had a unifying cause: to show the galaxy that Earth was no backwater. They would prove it with more than words. They would prove it with their will, their ingenuity, and if needed, their strength. As the session adjourned, Marcus remained calm, but his mind raced. The council's arrogance was not new, but it was dangerous. Underestimating Earth could become a grave mistake. The humans would prepare, quietly and thoroughly. The eyes of the galaxy were on them, mocking and dismissive. But Marcus knew one thing for certain: Earth would not stay silent forever. The broadcast was meant to be routine. A message from the Galactic Council aired across countless star systems. Instead, it ignited a fire that no one on Earth could ignore. The Kilari admiral, known for his sharp wit and biting sarcasm, took the stage. His voice, cold and calculated, carried across every screen and speaker. Earth, he said with a sneer, is nothing more than a stubborn backward rock, a world lost in its own arrogance, barely worth the dust it kicks up. Laughter erupted from the council chamber, but the reaction on Earth was very different. Across cities, villages, and deserts, people stopped what they were doing. The words stung, not because they were new. The galaxy had long dismissed Earth as insignificant, but because they were so public, so brazen. Families gathered around screens, workers paused their tasks, and children looked up at the sky with questions in their eyes. From the highest offices of government to the smallest communities, something remarkable happened. A shared sense of pride and purpose blossomed. For the first time in decades, humanity was united not by conflict, but by a common cause. The insults were a challenge, and they would answer, not with rage, but with resolve. Scientists in research labs worked late into the night, accelerating projects that had once been slow and secretive. Engineers pushed technology to new limits. Military leaders, often at odds with politicians, found common ground in preparing Earth's defenses. News channels shifted from endless debates to stories of innovation and perseverance. Social media flooded with messages of encouragement and determination. Earth is strong. One viral post read, "We may be small, but we are mighty." Children repeated the phrase like a mantra. On the streets, murals appeared overnight, depicting Earth as a proud warrior standing tall against the stars. Music and art flourished, celebrating human resilience and ingenuity. Marcus Hale watched this transformation from his office. He had expected pride and a spark of anger. But what he saw was something deeper, a planet reborn with purpose. The insult had shattered old divisions. Rival nations set aside differences to share technology and resources. Scientists from different continents collaborated on Project Midnight Forge, an ambitious plan to develop advanced defense capabilities. Military strategists crafted new doctrines based on unity and adaptability. The people of Earth no longer saw themselves as isolated or weak. They saw a future where their planet would command respect, not mockery. But they also understood the stakes. This was not a call to conquest or domination. Earth's goal was survival and dignity. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity would no longer be underestimated. As the days turned to weeks, the Council's broadcasts grew more cautious. The Kilari Admiral's joke, intended as humiliation, had become a spark that could not be extinguished. On Earth, the people waited, ready to show the galaxy that beneath the mockery lay a force forged by hardship and determination. The Backwater planet was preparing its reply, and when it came, it would be unforgettable. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, far from prying eyes, a vast network of hidden facilities hummed with renewed life. Project Midnight Forge was no longer just a plan whispered in secure rooms. It was awake, breathing, and growing stronger by the day. The project had been seeded years earlier, a secret effort combining the brightest minds in science, engineering, and defense technology. Its purpose was clear: to build a shield around Earth that no one in the galaxy could ignore. It was a promise that humanity would never again be the easy target or the laughingstock of the stars. In sprawling underground labs and orbital platforms, engineers worked with tireless focus. Artificial intelligence guided precision manufacturing. Quantum computers ran simulations faster than any before. Zero-point energy reactors, once theoretical, now powered experimental warheads and defensive arrays designed to outmatch anything the Council had seen. Unlike other planets' military forces, Earth did not seek conquest or aggression. Midnight Forge was about deterrence, about a promise of overwhelming retaliation if provoked. Its warheads were not simply weapons. They were symbols of resolve, forged from Earth's will to protect itself. At the command center deep beneath the Andes Mountains, Director Marcus Hale stood watching the progress reports. The world outside was still calm, but beneath their feet, humanity was building a force the galaxy would soon recognize. The Council believes Earth is defenseless, Hale said quietly to his lead scientist, Dr. Lena Ortiz. They don't know what we're capable of yet, and that is our advantage. Lena nodded. Every system online. The quantum encryption layers are impenetrable. Our eye has simulated millions of scenarios. We are ready. Outside, satellites activated, creating a network of sensors and defense platforms. Hidden warheads were distributed in orbit, ready to respond at a moment's notice. Earth was becoming a fortress wrapped in a veil of technological stealth. As Earth's people worked and waited, the Galactic Council remained unaware. Their spies still saw a planet focused on diplomacy and science, oblivious to the hidden arsenal forming in silence. The arrogance of dismissal blinded them. But the Council's time was running out. In classrooms and homes, children learned not just history but resilience. Stories of Earth's past struggles were shared with new pride. The message was clear. When pushed, humans did not break. They adapted. When underestimated, they fought smarter, harder, and with unbreakable spirit. On the surface, life went on. Governments debated, cultures thrived, and hopes for peaceful coexistence remained alive. But beneath it all, Earth was preparing its answer. The answer that would silence the mockery and command respect. Project Midnight Forge was more than a weapon. It was a declaration, a statement carved into the very fabric of Earth's future. The galaxy would soon see what it meant when a backwater planet replied with Warheads. Marcus Hale allowed himself a small, rare smile. The Council had dismissed Earth as a joke. Soon, they would understand that they had made a terrible mistake. The Kilari reconnaissance ship slipped quietly into the outer reaches of the solar system, cloaked beneath false signals and feigned distress. Their official claim: an accidental detour, a lost vessel seeking safe passage. But Earth's sensors, sharpened and vigilant, saw the truth beneath the lies. Marcus Hale watched the tracking data flow on his screen, tension coiling in his chest. This was no simple mistake. The Kilari had sent a spy ship, probing Earth's defenses and searching for weaknesses. The Council still believed Earth was a backwater, but now that belief would be tested. The ship advanced toward the asteroid belt, the region where Earth's new defense arrays lay hidden among the rocks. The Kilari crew, confident in their superiority, ignored the warnings blinking in their cockpit. They had counted on Earth's inexperience and hesitation. But Earth did not hesitate. At Hale's command, the satellites and orbital platforms flared to life. Invisible pulses rippled through space, engineered precisely to disable without destruction. A carefully calibrated electromagnetic pulse surged through the belt, striking the Kilari ship's power core and navigation systems. The vessel shuddered as its engines faltered and systems went dark. Silent and powerless, it drifted in the void, trapped but unharmed. For a moment, silence reigned. Then Earth sent a clear message. The ship would be returned, but stripped of all surveillance equipment and sensitive technology. It was a warning, a demonstration of strength, not destruction. When the Kilari vessel was released and limped back toward the Council's space, the message was unmistakable. Earth was no longer an easy target. The backwater planet had teeth, and it knew how to use them. The news spread quickly through the Council chambers, causing a ripple of shock and disbelief. How could a species so dismissed and ridiculed manage such precision and power? The Kilari admiral's smug confidence faltered as he faced the undeniable proof. His joke about Earth being insignificant was met with cold, hard reality. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the reaction was one of quiet triumph. Citizens across the globe shared the news with a mixture of pride and sober reflection. This was no victory of war, but a turning point, a statement to the stars that Earth was awakening. Marcus Hale addressed the world, his voice steady and resolute. This was not an act of aggression, he said. It was a message. We seek peace and respect, but we will defend ourselves with every resource we have. The planet united behind his words, recognizing that this was just the beginning. The Council's sneers had sparked a transformation, and now Earth was ready to stand tall. Across the galaxy, whispers grew louder. The backwater planet was no longer a punchline. It was a challenge. The Galactic Council chamber was tense as Marcus Hale returned to face the assembly. No longer was he the uncertain ambassador from a dismissed planet. His presence radiated calm confidence, the kind forged in quiet preparation and unwavering resolve. The massive room fell silent as he stepped forward, his voice steady and clear. "We came to this council with peace in our hearts and open hands," he said, eyes meeting those of the council members. "But peace cannot thrive where there is scorn and dismissal. We sought respect and understanding, yet we were met with mockery." The council listened, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats. For the first time, The humans were speaking not as supplicants, but as equals, and that shift unsettled many. Marcus continued, "Our people have endured hardship and conflict. We have been underestimated, ridiculed, and ignored. But today, we stand not as the backwater you once dismissed. We stand as a world united, prepared to defend ourselves and our future." Behind him, the chamber's great windows framed a breathtaking sight. Slowly, Earth's newly deployed orbital defenses activated. Brilliant lines of light traced a vast shield around the planet. An invisible web of satellites, sensors, and defensive weaponry, all designed to protect Earth from any threat. The council members gasped, their eyes wide with surprise, and in some cases, fear. The humans had not only built their defenses, they had made them visible, a bold statement to all who doubted. Marcus's voice grew firmer. "We do not seek war. We seek a place at this table where all worlds are respected, regardless of their size or history. But let there be no mistake, Earth will defend itself." The Kilari ambassador's earlier sneer was replaced by a cold glare. His species' reputation for military might was well known, and now, faced with this unexpected challenge, they reevaluated their assumptions. Across the chamber, whispers filled the air. The humans were no longer the primitive planet they had mocked. They were a power emerging from hardship, a force that combined technology with tenacity. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. Citizens watched the broadcast with pride swelling in their chests. Artists captured the moment in paintings and songs. Children repeated Marcus's words with reverence. But the humans knew this was only the beginning. The council's reaction, though cautious, hinted at future challenges. Some members would resist Earth's rise, unwilling to relinquish their dismissive attitudes or power. Still, humanity's message was clear. Earth demanded respect, and it was ready to stand its ground. As the council session ended, Marcus stepped back, aware that actions would now speak louder than words. The orbital defenses would remain active, ready to respond if provoked. The galaxy had witnessed the birth of a new player, one that would not be silenced or underestimated. Earth's reply was no longer whispered in the shadows. It was a beacon shining boldly among the stars. The Kilari were not known for taking insults lightly. The humiliation of their reconnaissance ship being disabled without a fight was a blow to their pride. And their leaders demanded swift retribution. A punitive fleet, the pride of their military, was dispatched toward Earth. Its mission was clear: intimidate the backwater planet into submission and remind the galaxy of Kilari supremacy. The massive fleet blazed through the void, engines humming with lethal intent. Each ship was bristling with weapons designed to crush resistance and impose control. The galaxy watched with bated breath. Many expected Earth to fall swiftly under the weight of such overwhelming power. But Earth had changed. From the war rooms scattered across continents to the nerve center beneath the Andes, human commanders coordinated with precision and calm. Earth's defense network was no longer a scattered collection of outdated systems. It was a unified fortress, linked by an artificial intelligence designed to analyze, adapt, and respond faster than any human or alien opponent. As the fleet approached the outer solar system, sensors tracked every ship's movement. The AI calculated countless scenarios, selecting the strategy that would maximize efficiency and minimize destruction. Rather than engage in a costly battle, Earth's defense system launched a carefully orchestrated countermeasure. Electromagnetic pulses targeted the fleet's propulsion and communications arrays. In moments, the massive ships lost power, drifting like silent ghosts in the void. The Kilari commanders were stunned. Their pride shattered as they realized they were stranded, powerless, and vulnerable, far from home. Earth's AI maintained a watchful eye, ready to respond if any hostile move was attempted. Meanwhile, communications channels opened, Earth's leaders delivering a message not of conquest, but of warning. Attempting to impose your will by force will only lead to failure. Marcus Hale's voice echoed across the silence. Earth is no longer a backwater to be bullied. We defend our home, and we will prevail. Across the Galactic Council, shockwaves spread. The fleet's failure was a humiliating demonstration of Earth's rising power and strategy. Analysts scrambled to revise their assessments. The once dismissed humans had transformed into a force to be reckoned with. Even the Kilari admiral, once so dismissive, faced hard questions from his peers. Underestimating Earth was no longer just an error, it was a dangerous miscalculation. Back on Earth, the people watched the events unfold with a mixture of relief and resolve. The world had not faced destruction. Instead, it had sent a clear signal that it would not back down. The unity that had been forged in response to the insult was now tempered by victory, and the sobering knowledge that greater challenges lay ahead. Across the globe, celebrations mixed with quiet preparation. Earth's leaders made it clear. Peace was the goal, but it would be earned on their terms. The story of the fleet's failure spread far beyond Earth's borders. To many species, it was a turning point, a lesson in humility and respect. The Backwater planet had shown that it could defend itself not with reckless aggression, but with intelligence and unwavering determination. The galaxy's perception of Earth was shifting. The planet once mocked as insignificant was emerging as a new power, capable of shaping the future of interstellar relations. Marcus Hale looked to the stars, knowing that this was not the end of the struggle but a decisive beginning. Earth's response had been firm, but the real test was still to come. The Galactic Council's chambers were filled with uneasy murmurs. The stunning failure of the Kilari fleet to intimidate Earth had shaken centuries of complacency. Delegates who once scoffed at the blue planet now viewed it through wary eyes. A special session was convened, calling for urgent debate. The question on everyone's lips: how should the galaxy respond to a planet that refused to stay in its place? Marcus Hale entered the chamber once again, this time with more than just words. Earth's recent demonstrations had shifted the balance of power and respect. The ambassador carried the weight of a planet transformed, but also the burden of inevitable conflict. Voices rose on all sides. Some urged caution and diplomacy, fearing that escalating tensions could spiral into war. Others, particularly those aligned with the Kilari, demanded punishment for what they called Earth's insolence. The Kilari admiral, his arrogance now tempered by defeat, argued fiercely for a show of force. If we allow Earth to defy us unchecked, he warned, we invite chaos. Other worlds will follow their lead, and the Council's authority will crumble. But Marcus was ready. He raised his hand for silence. We do not seek to challenge the Council's authority, he said evenly. We seek recognition that strength is not only measured by weapons or fleets, but by the courage to defend one's home and the wisdom to pursue peace. The room fell silent, the weight of his words sinking in. Outside, across Earth's cities and towns, people listened to the Council's debates, knowing that their planet's future hung in the balance. They had proven their strength, but now they faced the true test of diplomacy, holding firm without becoming the aggressor. Behind the scenes, Earth's leaders worked tirelessly, reaching out to other neutral and undecided species. They forged alliances and built trust, hoping to isolate those who clung to old prejudices and power plays. Meanwhile, scientists and strategists continued to refine Project Midnight Forge. They understood that strength alone was not enough. Earth needed to be ready for whatever came next. In the council chamber, Marcus sensed the tide beginning to shift. Some delegates, impressed by Earth's resilience and unity, began to advocate for a new era of cooperation, one that included Earth as an equal partner. It was a fragile hope, but a hope nonetheless. The final vote of the session was close. The council agreed to recognize Earth's right to self-defense and called for a peaceful dialogue to address grievances. The Kilari delegation, though reluctant, accepted the decision, knowing that further conflict would be costly and uncertain. As the session ended, Marcus allowed himself a rare moment of relief. Earth had not only survived the Council's scorn and threats, but had begun to carve out a place among the stars. But he knew the path ahead was long and uncertain. The galaxy was watching, and Earth's reply was far from over. The Galactic Council's chamber was quieter than usual. The fierce debates had subsided, replaced by a cautious optimism. Earth was no longer the backwater planet whispered about with contempt. It was a respected member of the galactic community, a symbol of resilience and determination. Marcus Hale stood once more before the assembly, but this time his voice carried a different tone, one of hope rather than challenge. "Today, Earth begins a new chapter," he declared, "not as a planet defined by past weaknesses or mockery, but as a beacon of unity, strength, and peace." The council members listened as he outlined Earth's vision: cooperation, shared knowledge, and mutual respect. Earth would contribute to galactic science, aid in peaceful exploration, and stand ready to defend itself and its allies. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted worldwide. The murals and songs evolved to reflect not only defiance but hope for a brighter future. Schools taught the story of how a planet once dismissed had risen to command respect, not through conquest, but through courage and unity. Yet, Marcus knew vigilance was still necessary. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, but Earth had changed fundamentally. It was no longer the planet others could ignore or belittle. Project Midnight Forge remained active, a quiet guardian beneath the surface, a reminder that peace was best preserved by strength. The people of Earth had learned that their future depended not just on hope, but on readiness. Diplomatic ties flourished as Earth reached out to new allies and former skeptics alike. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and scientific collaborations blossomed, weaving Earth into the fabric of interstellar society. Most importantly, Earth's story inspired others, planets and peoples who had long suffered neglect or dismissal. It showed that even the smallest or most underestimated could rise and be heard. Marcus Hale looked to the stars from his office one evening. The sky was filled with stars, countless worlds, each with its own story. Earth's place among them was no longer defined by mockery, but by respect and hope. The insult that had once threatened to divide had instead united an entire planet. The warheads that had been forged in secret had not unleashed destruction, but had secured peace. And in that new dawn, Earth's reply echoed through the galaxy: never underestimate the heart and will of a world determined to stand tall.